Quiet on set. We're
About
live.
a minute and a half.
Quiet on the set. We're live. A minute and a half. This guy quit. I love you, buddy. Yeah.
Definitely take you up coming up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It'll be fun.
I look forward to it.
Are we covering the trains?
Just don't quit.
Trains.
If you're a minority, get off the train trying to leave.
Oh yeah, that was
So
an
what you guys
interesting
are
thing.
talking about
That's why I
today?
say. That's why I say it is all over the
It's a
world.
lot
It
to
ain't
talk
just here.
What are you guys doing today?
Ukraine, like
We're going to talk about civil tension. Welcome to Bridging Civil Tension here, 21.6 Net. Of course, Bridging Civil Tension is a show where we are going to attack topics that make people very uncomfortable. We're going to build a bridge. We're going to meet the bridge. We're going to talk. We're going to either go together across that bridge or separate ways, but we ain't going to blow it up. Phil Wallace, of course, entrepreneur, author, manager, leader, coach, trainer, just all-around good guy. He's on that side of the table. I am Kent.
man, the hour suave
And,
mentor.
yeah,
Pastor,
I trimmed up the
deacon,
beard a little bit. I'm trying to get it
suave.
trying to
No,
get it-
let's talk about that picture
Yeah.
of you in the hat on Facebook, GQ.
Oh,
If you
I look good in black
if
and white.
you
really.
don't, man, you a bad man. You the white shaft.
Right?
If
Yeah.
you didn't see Kent on Facebook, Kent has his picture. What's the hat called?
Yeah, that's my fedora, man. That's
And
it.
Kent
It's tight.
is GQ'd reading. Man, you
Uh,
bet. That's why I had to dress up today.
yeah,
like I
that
was,
was-
like, Kid is blowing me out the water with
that
this
was
one.
nice.
And look,
Black
you
and white
stepped your
looks
game
so
up today. I
good.
see you, Kate, man.
Yeah, and thanks to Kelsey Adams from Kay Adams Photo. She did a great job with that one.
Yeah.
It helps when you do that. Julie, good morning.
That's a profile.
Glad to
picture,
have you with.
bro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm trying to get it from her, so it's awesome. Ted, hey guys. So it's finally time to quit with the lasso. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Wait, I think that was way overdue to quit that one. Nice to see you guys. Love this show. Share it out.
Ted, what's up, brother?
Absolutely. So listen, it's all over the world, and here's where I want to start because there is a situation happening on the east side of Europe,
Right.
between with a country over there, with two countries, one really big country, as Kamala Harris would say, and one smaller country.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
But I want people to understand on this show, we talk a lot about race and whatnot.
Right.
And because if you're just tuning in, I am a white guy and Phil is not. And so we kind of started this back in 2020 to help
It's a
bridge.
shock to some of you. It's
It
not,
is.
It's not your TV that's colored.
That's right. That's right. So the idea is, a lot of us brush things off or say, "Oh man, it's only here in America."
Right.
You're only upset because you're here in America.
Right.
Right now, people are trying to flee Ukraine.
We're gonna get on.
Right.
Join us.
So a lot of people are trying to flee Ukraine. They're trying to get over. Now, the interesting thing over there, because of the situation they're in, if you're between a certain age and you're a man
Right.
or maybe even a healthy female, they're saying no, you can't. And
Mhm.
here's some ammunition. Go fight for our
It
country.
was between 18 and 60.
Yeah, 1860. However, this past week, I did some digging, and actually, they are not letting African Ukrainians or people of black people. I'm just
Right.
not even going to say of color, just black people. They're not allowing them. That you hear them actually saying, "No, the blacks stay.
Right.
They don't cross this line."
Yeah.
And I had to rewind it. I'm like,
That's not what he said. right? You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
you
I
can't-
couldn't believe it. And it wasn't like, hey, this fella here is strong, young, and fits the age.
Yeah, you with the hat, sir. Please join us. No.
Literally, and I might have saved it. I don't know, but literally, it was the craziest thing for me. And I said, "Oh my gosh,
Right.
this is worldwide."
So then to take it a step further, there's the other video where they weren't letting Indians, Pakistani,
Right.
they weren't letting them leave the country as well.
Oh.
Right. So it was college kids who were stuck, and anyone
Yeah.
who, you know, for our sake, minorities, right?
Right.
We're told to stay. And we had this conversation when there was the Asian hate crime.
Yep.
And I was like, man, just because, you know, we know how things are treated over there.
Yep.
I want to show compassion. We need more vocalization.
Right.
Right. One, I still do pray for those who are
Absolutely.
on both
It's
sides,
horrible.
right? The innocent people, as far as who are just stuck in the situation from Russia, but are figureheaded by the negativity that's going on in Russia, and the ones who are stuck in Ukraine. Legit take, you know, for that.
Yeah.
But it's hard to as much
Yeah.
when you're seeing that even if I do put my whole heart towards that direction, I would be told that I don't qualify to flee to safety. Just for the color of my skin.
Just because of the color of your skin.
That's tough. Now, take it a step further, though. Imagine looking down on African Americans and then being told, "Hey, you gotta get off the train too."
Yeah.
And we're having this we had the conversation about the Asians, and this we've talked about. Listen, when you put all the bad energy towards one race, don't be upset when America asks you to get off the train too.
Right.
And
now it ain't just America.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. But like I feel that sometimes, using the Asian example, just because it's something that we already talked about, where the Asians will feel that they're better than blacks.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, they act like this. Or this one says they like no. When we do all this condemning, what we're saying is you're just not us.
Right.
So if you're not us, get off the train. We don't want that to happen.
And again, and I'm going to put it out there because this is important for you to understand. And for everybody out there listening, we're not trying to take a side, right? We're just trying to say, look, this is real and this is happening.
Right.
We're not trying to change history. Right. We're just saying this is also history.
Right.
We're not trying to say that, oh, you guys, I'm blinded because it doesn't happen, you know, back here in my cul-de-sac, right?
Right.
On the south side. I am on the south side. South side. McHenry. Right? McHenry.
Emphasis. McHenry.
That's right. McHenry. Right. So I'm blind to it, right? Scott was just here. We absolutely love Scott, and Scott is a guy who does not dive into the news, radio, or anything like that. So we shared this incident with him, and he and I'm speaking for him. So Scott, thanks for listening. I know you're out there, but he's like, I mean, that's going to irritate me all day. Yes,
it should,
and it should.
Can you imagine how the people who are sitting outside of a train station in the cold, and the one college kid said it's cold, there's no shelter. The Indian guy said there's no bathrooms.
There's no bathrooms, no water. Yeah.
So get off the train in a place that doesn't have adequate facilities.
Yeah.
And not one or two of you.
All of you.
All of you.
All of you. Yeah. And that's and you know, so I will say this, and this irritates a lot of people, being a white guy, right? That's not what irritates a lot of people, because I'm a handsome white guy. What irritates a lot of people, is I'm at a position in life where I now am being very mindful. Like, okay, have I been blind to this, or why does this irritate me? Those type of things. And we had on a show a year ago, after watching High on the Hog.
All right.
And I go, they're proud that they built the new world over here in Benin. And I go, why can't we be proud over here that we built the world? And you said, well, because I still walk down the street and can get guns pointed at me by, you know, whatever. Or there's still people throwing racial slurs and hate. And so now, because I'm not a worldly traveler, now I'm like, well, gosh, America is just effed up. we're just effed up. But then I see it on the other side of the globe,
Right.
and I go, the world now, and then that was an eye opener for me to go, holy shit,
Right.
this isn't just here;
It's a global thing.
it's global.
Well, I mean, you got to look at it. If that works well,
And for how long?
if that works well over there, and when
Yeah.
I say works well, I mean as far as like profitable
Yep.
to those who
Yep.
need that profit. Well, maybe it'll be profitable over here.
Mhm.
That's the play that's working,
Right?
that is ran by. And again, the powers that be keep a fat pocket.
Yep.
As long as we keep perpetuating the hate,
Oh,
hey, run motion. Run motion.
right. So Ted, and I'm glad Ted's on. Ted, a great friend of the show, runs an incredible business, Legal Legacies Services. Just a great guy. His wife is African American, right? He's not. He's a white guy like me, right? So it'd be interesting to see what kind of conversations, Ted, if you want to, hit some comments on what some of those conversations are in your household too, because.
He was on it.
Yeah, right.
That would be because in that situation, Ted would be told to stay and fight.
Yep.
She would be told to stay.
To stay. Not fight. Just stay.
You're not even allowed to leave to safety.
Right.
Just stay at this train station. Hope
Correct.
they don't bomb this.
Correct. Right. Yeah. Thanks, Ted. Look, he had good minds think alike because he was. I truly hope this world decides to finally accept one another as human first, race second, loving our neighbors no matter what race, religion, or physical or mental challenges. As Americans, this needs to teach us that you can't build a bridge as one. It takes us all working together. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Legal Legacy Home and Business Services. Thanks. Check them out. www. Throw your website up there too, Ted. Great job. Great. He's just a great man, great business mind. So here, so I'm gonna play off of this a little bit because I had a conversation over the weekend. My brother was in town. My brother's a bishop in the church, and he was telling me a story, and it relates to this. Okay, but it's been on my mind. And again, my quote of the year is: question everything you hear, listen to what's being said. Okay.
Right.
So my brother was doing a Habitat for Humanity or whatever thing up in Milwaukee, and so there was a bunch of white kids and whatnot, mission trip from Iowa going to Milwaukee inner city to help them rebuild some stuff, whatever. Right. And there's this African American pastor who is there and working as well, and they were talking about race and things like that with these young Iowans, and he says, "Listen, what you see on TV." On the news is the cops come screaming in with their lights going, and you see African Americans running, and you are told that they are running because they're guilty.
Right.
Okay, that's where you're being programmed.
Right.
So he goes, or he said this: why are they running? And that's what the kids respond. Well, because they're guilty. They're running to get away from the cops. He goes, yes, that's what you're programmed to believe. Mm-hmm. He goes, but I want you to understand something. And he rolls up his sleeve and he shows this massive scar. And he says, see this scar? Now, this is a pastor. He says, this came from a police German Shepherd when I was laying face down and doing exactly what they told me to do and didn't call off their dog. It took a bite out of my arm. He goes, I totally complied. I didn't run. I didn't do anything. I wasn't even guilty. And I laid down because that's what they said to do. I complied.
Right.
And the dog, and he's got a massive chunk, right? And he goes, I was also, me and my friends were walking down to the playground or whatever, and we were tackled and thrown into a squad car and taken down to the station and beaten by the police in the station. Right? And he goes, for no reason. And at the end of it, it was, don't step out of line or this is what's going to happen, was what was told to them.
Mm-hmm.
Left, bleeding, bloody eyes, black, the whole works. Now, the young kids from Iowa go, you're lying, right? So he goes, now listen, the reason you see us running is because that's what happens if we don't. This is the way we've been taught. This is what happens if you comply. So we're not running because we're guilty. We're running because we don't want a dog to bite through our arm. We don't want to go back down to the station and get beat up for no reason.
Right.
He goes, but you think we're running because we're guilty. And the kids go, you lie. You're making this up. He goes, listen, you guys are here for a weekend helping with this project. What do I gain from making up a lie to you kids when you're going to go back to Iowa? We're never going to see each other again. He goes, what do I have to gain by telling you that? He goes, nothing. Why would I make this story up? I'm not to scare you, not to do anything. I'm telling you that this is reality. And I sat there and I thought for a minute, and then this, and then this happened over there. So it's very easy for me to go, you lie. You're making this up.
Right.
But now I see it on the other side of the world. And I go, oh my God.
You remember last week when we were talking about how you asked the people from Russia how things are going in Russia? When I told you it's actually not bad. You believed them.
I believed him.
But if I can show you the scars,
Yeah. Right.
I'm the one making it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ted. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ted says because of my disability, I wouldn't be allowed to fight. I'd be stuck there too. Yeah. Unfortunately, right. Alex. Good morning. Hey, it's one of my favorite white persons and black persons on.
Appreciate
Just
you.
one of them now.
Just one of them.
There's one of them. Yeah. So there it is. Check Ted's business out. Like, follow www.legal legacy home and business services, also on LinkedIn, which is great. Or call him 815-836-6747. So here's the deal, and it keeps just kind of playing out and seeing it, and a lot of me when we started the show, even though you're one of my dearest friends, I'm like, all right, you're taking it a little over the edge, Phil. Right? Because it's not been my experience.
Right.
And no matter how much I want to accept it or be part of it, I'll never have that experience.
But see, like for my situation, it's different because when you tell me about the pastor with the dog scars,
Right.
He passed 5 years ago, but I could have showed you my uncle with his scars when he was a 60-year-old frail person who does dialysis 3 times a week. And when he was sitting at the rec center that he's had a membership of for 20 years and they asked him to leave, he's like, for what? I'm just having my sandwich, so I have my energy to leave. They called the cops and they broke his arm. So when you tell me a scar story, I've seen it.
Right.
So it's not as far-fetched for me.
Right. And that's the interesting thing. I think, especially playing out throughout the whole world, is it's not just here.
Right.
That's very, very concerning. And so I then asked myself, why is it so concerning now that I'm seeing it all over the world?
Right. Well,
instead of why wasn't it concerning before? And I can't be the only one that's thinking that.
Yeah. Well, and then my suggestion would be if you're not white, but you're not black.
Right.
Before you think it's just them and let them hash it out, I ask you to vocalize before you're asked to get off the train.
There you go.
Before we're both sitting in the cold.
Right.
And I'm looking at you and you're looking at me and you thought that you were above. And now we find out that we both belong, or we are where we are.
Yeah. So Alex says, hey, just got up. He's out on the West Coast there. What are you guys talking about? So I can come down from the mountaintop and throw my incredible knowledge on you.
Come on down.
Well, it's the whole kind of thing started with over in Ukraine. They are telling black people no,
Indian,
and
all
Indian,
minorities,
all minorities. No, because of the color of their skin, don't let them in here, is how it was said.
People trying to flee the country are asked to get off the train. So imagine you're leaving Ukraine, you're on a train to get to another country to get to safety because you don't want to be in a war zone. And me and Habib and Hector have to get off of the train. We're told, nope, you guys are up. So there's droves of college kids and families who are stuck in the cold in places that don't have food or shelter or bathroom facilities. And so on one side of the water, we're saying, pray for Ukraine, and you should. Absolutely should. But then you're finding out in Ukraine, I would be told I'm not worthy of leaving the war zone, and I have to just sit someplace in the cold because of the color of my skin.
Yeah. So
what's up, Drew?
And I don't know. I can't find it.
Leather-bound bag
book.
Yes. Burgundy is always
there you
welcome.
Go. That's it. You should check out videos on how disabled people get treated in other countries. No, absolutely. Yeah. And being treated poorly, whether no matter color, situation, whatever, is hard.
Right, because that's what we're saying. Like, and Ted, this doesn't apply to you, but like what I was saying is that like you're white and you don't have the disability.
Yeah.
That another person would be like, well, hey, I'm above blacks. But then if me and you were both at the train station, you're right here with me. So instead of turning the other cheek when I'm mistreated because you felt that you were safe, don't find out that we're both getting mistreated. And I would have your back just as much as you should have my back. And now me and you do, but there's other people who, for whatever the situation, Phil, that's on them. I don't need to get involved until we're both outside in the cold.
Yeah, I didn't see anybody fighting or saying, "Hey, no, bring him, man. That guy can fight. Give him a gun." I was like, no.
In my mind, like I'm really like, all right. Well, in a foxhole, it doesn't matter what color skin you are, right? Yeah. I don't care if it's Alex's red beard beside me or your white one. Let's get after it,
right?
But then they'd be like, no, we don't. Yeah, we don't want you. No. You guys stay over there. We'll do this.
Right.
What?
Right. Yeah.
The hatred is that deep for real.
And it is, and it's what Alex said. I've been pissed off about that type of stuff ever since I watched the movie Titanic. Screw the women and children. I want on the boat too. Now I'm all about equal rights. Give them equal lefts too. Anyway, hey, ho. So what is really weird, well, not weird, but really, starting to ruminate inside of me and hearing this conversation, even in all of our shows, for the last 2 years, it still didn't dawn on me. Right? We would say, we would always talk about traffic stops or something like that, and then you hear the story. No, the dog chewed my arm. They wouldn't call the dog off. I did nothing because of the color of my skin. No, they just threw us in the back of the squad car, took us down to the station, and beat the living tar out of us, and then said, "Listen, don't let it happen again, or this is what's going to happen."
Right.
Don't let what happen again. We were just out walking to the park, right? So and I suppose when I just say that, beat the living tar out of you, that's probably pretty racist too.
Right. Yeah.
which I'm just thinking like, oh shit, I get it. I get that now. Interesting. Bad.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I'm sorry I said that. Sometimes I'm a little slow to the dance here. But
at least you acknowledge,
right? Yeah. But at the same time, we talk about, oh, he was going for something, or why'd you run? Just comply. Okay. When I comply, I have a dog eat my goddamn arm. Oh, whatever you do, you leave your hands up. Okay, but my history has showed that when I do that, it doesn't end well. Listen, and I'm not trying to get on the police. This is not about that.
It's not about
what it's about is I have, even through this whole time, my mental capacity to understand what was happening wasn't broad enough. Hasn't been broad enough to understand.
I mean, but it's so, the racism is so comfortable. We can do it in droves. We can tell hundreds of college kids. Imagine Colette is coming back from somewhere, and then you get a call that she's in the cold with no restrooms or food.
Yeah.
Because she was told coming from Colorado back to here, get off the train.
Or even a weird text from somebody you don't know.
Get off the train. And now this person, but I'm just saying, like, even from Colorado to here and somewhere in Nebraska or whatever,
right,
Dakotas, What?
Yeah. Get off the train.
And it's hundreds.
Yeah.
And we're so comfortable that they'll record it, they'll put it on the news, and like we talked about last week, the reporters will say, this isn't like some third world country. This isn't like some African country.
Right.
On top of racism, the coverage is racist.
Right.
These are good Europeans that are now being asked.
Right.
Racism is comfortable, man.
Very comfortable.
For a lot of people. And you don't have to dilute it. You don't have to curve it at this point. You can say whatever you want to. What are they going to do? Get on me for being rich? I told you. It's not. It's the engine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the engine.
And when you haven't worked in the engine compartment, it's hard for me to, what do you mean? I work on the leather seats. What do you mean the engine? The engine just makes it go. Very comfortable back
4
here.
4 miles per hour over the speed limit. Me, Pat, and Will are on golf course face down.
Yeah.
With the car getting searched.
Yeah.
Pat's like, what are you guys freaking out about? We're going to be fine. We're going to have to get out the car, Pat. I don't ever get pulled over. You have 2 black people with you.
You are now.
Why is your car getting searched for 4 miles over the speed limit? Has your car ever gotten searched for 4 miles over the speed limit?
No.
Most people don't even get pulled over for 4 miles over the speed limit.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Ted says, you should see when I want to buy a car and go into a dealership. They don't even acknowledge I exist. I once walked into a dealership with 20,000 cash and not one person asked what I was looking for. So finally, I opened my briefcase. I've never seen so many people run to help me in my life. Now, and he's bound to a wheelchair.
Close the briefcase and
leave.
Been up out of there.
That's right. And then leave. Yeah. Alex says, being hashtag super ginger white straight male, I could never understand what other people who aren't like me go through every day. But I can't understand how people can't find compassion for others.
Right.
But then again, I don't do GoFundMe campaigns or give money to homeless people. So I also talk through both sides of my mouth. Well, you can show compassion, but maybe that's most people. We only help those or care about those when it benefits us personally or publicly. A lot of times, and that's oh my gosh. Well, I've got several black friends. I should certainly be more compassionate. No, the truth of the matter is I go, yeah, man, I feel your pain. I'm with you. And in reality, I'm like, I got no idea what the hell you're going through on a day-to-day basis. Ted, same thing. I don't understand why he has to, do Olympic push-ups to come up to the studio here because he's in a wheelchair. This place ain't accessible. I'd love to have him on every show. Right. Can't do that. That's a hard job for him, right? And I sit here and I go every time. I'm like, well, that sucks because he's a brilliant man.
Tremendous value.
But again, I don't know what that. I don't. Sorry. Oh, buddy. You're so strong. You're so brave. Right. And inside, I'm like, glad that shit ain't me. I mean, honestly, right? Right. And that isn't because I'm not compassionate. That's because I as much as I want to walk in your shoes, I don't want to walk on your shoes at all.
Right.
And so it's very comfortable, to your point. All over the world, comfortable.
And I feel bad because I think for what's going to happen for some people is when they're asked to get off the train, they're new here. You know what I mean? Like, we expected it.
Yeah.
Now you're distraught and how could they? Me?
Yeah.
Remember what we were trying to tell you about preparation. Remember that conversation about what's in the water over here versus what's in the water over there. Good luck.
Yeah.
But then we're told if I don't throw you a life raft,
right,
that we're bad.
Hey, Nate. Good morning. Glad to have you with us. Maybe that's what does he say? Maybe that's most people. We only help those who care about those when it benefits us personally. Oh yeah, I think I read that already. Well, and then we're only doing it for the public, or we're only doing it for the acknowledgement. Yeah. Right. I worked downtown Chicago for a while, and you jump the train. Being a kid from Iowa is exciting. It's a big city. I'm riding the train into the city for work. And every day I'd get off of the train down there by Ogilvy. And guess what? The same homeless dudes there with better shoes than I got. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, I don't feel bad for you. I don't know his story. But I look at him and go, listen, bro, you can't be out here with the brand new Jordans on asking for pennies.
Right.
You know, I don't.
It's not gonna work.
Yeah, they don't work with me. I just you walk by, right? But I've been trained not to stop and right publicly, socially trained to be like, don't stop, just keep walking.
Mhm.
They're there, whatever. Just keep walking. They're panhandlers, right? I don't know their story. Don't want to know their story.
And
Right?
I think that's how a lot of people who are comfortable with where they are on topics
Yeah.
treat when they hear about other situations. Just keep walking. Just keep walking. They're asking for loose change versus no, this is a person.
Yeah.
Right. It's not that it's well Marcus is just complaining. Let's keep walking. No. He's got a scar on his arm.
Yeah.
This is real. We should probably address this. No, he's a peddler. The aisle. The pastor of the church, which
right,
is lying to you guys, and he had literally. I don't get nothing out of this.
I'm never going to see you again.
Never going to see. There's no benefit.
Right. I just want you to know that
this happens.
That doesn't your reality or your history. There's still more to it.
Yeah.
You only put so much in your bag, right? And now I'm just want to put a little more in your bag just to show you, hey, here's the truth.
So then what happens if that kid gets his arm broke or whatever?
Right.
And then they ask the Milwaukee church to raise money.
Right.
Well, you're lying.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It does because it happened to you too. You told me you didn't believe me.
Right. Remember that?
Then the Milwaukee people would be the bad guys.
Right.
But that's how we're treating people telling the story. I don't understand it.
And that's the hard thing. And it's very easy for us to sit in the comforts of our house here in America and go, oh, that's not right. Those poor bastards over there.
Right.
That's just not right. I can't believe they said because of the color of your skin, you stay. Get off the train. That was so hundreds of years ago here in America. Is it? That's what we're trying to say, right? Again, question everything you hear. Listen to what's being said.
Right.
And if so I can hear the melody of a song and know what song that is.
Mm-hmm.
You can put different words to that song.
Same song.
But I know what song it is.
Right.
Oh, and that's what Weird Al Yankovic does the whole time. Yeah. So I'm riding to school. I'm taking Lucy to school, and she's playing, and another one bites the dust. Come on, right? So I start singing Another One Rides the Bus, and she's looking at me like those aren't the words. Like, oh yeah, it is for Weird Al song.
Yeah.
Another one rides the bus, and another one's on, and another one's on, right? So and she's just kind of looking at me, and I'm laughing, but I know what song it is. Yeah. It's Another One Bites the Dust.
Right.
So, but she's hearing something else, but she's questioning that, which is good, but she's also listening to what's being said. So what is the song that's playing? You have to wait a minute. What I'm hearing is different from what is being said.
But you're hearing it from a different perspective because you know both songs.
Right.
She only knows one version of the song.
Right. That's it. And so now we have this going on. Here's the song that goes on in our heads. I'm glad it's not over here in America. We don't do that here. That's what's going on in people's heads when they see that. I'm telling you, for a majority of the people, they are saying, glad we're not there because we here in America don't treat people like that anymore.
Man.
Because, so again, question what you hear, but listen to what's being said, right? Why would we put that on there? Listen to any of the news that's coming from over there. I will guarantee you, and you can quote me on this, whatever. I can guarantee you that somewhere in that whatever news that you will hear from a woman, and then they'll tell you that a child's been affected. Mm-hmm. Right? Every one that I've heard since this entire war erupted is women and how many children are dead.
Right.
Why?
tugs the heartstrings.
That's right. Oh my gosh, it's evil over there. I am glad, not just that, but then it's I am glad we're in America and this doesn't happen.
True.
That's what's being said. It's not what So question what you hear. Understand what's being said.
And I think, but like, okay, so recapping what we just said, we can say that I'm asked to leave the train. That
Yes.
doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen.
We can give stats on how many women and children. That part is true. That's what I need to act on.
Correct. All right. So and so let's roll into Brittany Griner. As we're talking about this. So here's the other concept of that, right? Is that doesn't happen over here. Oh, but women and children very important. And yes, what's been the fight? Hey, women don't make as much as men, and it's proven, right? And so now we've got a professional athlete, Brittany Griner, one of the most recognizable female athletes in the world. Why? Because she's 6'11" or something. She's a tall girl, 6'9", right? And a tall woman, I should say. And she plays professionally in the WNBA here in America. Right. And she came in second, I think, to MVP this year.
Right.
I mean, so she's really, really good. And she's in jail right now over in Russia.
3 weeks she's been there.
She's been in there for 3 weeks, being held in jail.
Right.
Because they found some cannabis cartridges or something, or oils.
A CBD vape pen.
A CBD vape pen, which is illegal in Russia. And I don't know exactly how it works, but she's now been sitting in a Russian jail for 3 weeks. And now there's this whole war, everything's going on, and how scary is that for her? And people are like, well, whoa, what's she over there for? She shouldn't have gone over there. Is she over there on a vacation?
Did you hear her sentencing though?
No.
They're trying to try her for 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
So they're trying to send her to jail for 10 years for a CBD
cartridge, vape pen cartridge or whatever. Yikes. Meanwhile, little Julie, the figure skater, never mind.
Man, I mean,
so people have said to me in this week, well, why would you go over there? You knew it was volatile. Okay, here's why. Because she has played in the Russian basketball league for the last 5 years or something. 5 years, and she makes 5 times over there what she makes here in America
for the WNBA.
For the WNBA, one of the highest paid, right? I think her contract here is $220,000 a year or something. Right? So she goes over there because she makes 5 times that she has for the last 5 years. So she gets done playing here in America, and then she goes and plays over there,
right?
Because she's got a contract over there. And why would she have to? Go.
So you know how many NBA players, and I'm not taking away from this, but it just sit out and have to sit whatever because the wear and tear on their bodies from an NBA season.
Yeah. Right.
These women finish the same type of grueling schedule. And then leave family, bring family, whatever, have to go across the water and do the same thing all over again.
Yep.
Just to make a fraction.
Just to make a fraction. Let's see here. It's why it's frustrated the hell out of me during the Trump president. Oh, we won't say that because we don't talk about that. But with the other people talking about the Dreamers, as soon as it wasn't politically in their favor, we could get their attention. They dropped them like a bad habit from the conversation. Many people are like that. As soon as it doesn't benefit them, they do. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's just the way it is. We complain about the propaganda. Nobody talks about our own. Yep, no, I do. I've said it several times. I said it loud too because the things that we're trying to vilify somebody with, we just got done. And anyway, so true. Nate says maybe a lot of Russian people should try CBD. Maybe they wouldn't be so angry all the time. Well, let me ask you this then, Nate. When you drink a White Russian, do you get angry? Too soon. Sorry.
It's
Okay.
the teapot sound. For
That's
me.
it. Too soon. Sorry. I've also been asked to leave stores, restaurants, cabs refuse to pick me. Yeah. That's because you're different, and we're not quite sure what to do with you. Will I have to help him? Will I have to pick him up out of his wheelchair to put him into wherever I got to go? Oh man, this is uncomfortable for me. I just as soon walk by. Hey, you get off the train. Nope, you're coming with me. I'm giving you a gun. Let's
Right.
go. Right? What is the deal? Did she break the law or not? What was it ever said? So I don't know the law, but from what I've read, from what I've read is that cannabis or whatever is illegal in Russia. I don't
thought
know.
THC was. I didn't think CBD was.
And that's what I don't understand. Right. So I will say this. I will say this. Absolutely. If you break the law, you have to pay the price. No matter who you are. But again, we're not saying that the problem is that she's in a Russian jail. The problem is, and I could say this, if it was somebody else, let's say it was somebody, let's say it was a LeBron James, let's say it was a James Harden, let's say it was whoever came in second to, or let's say it was Aaron Rodgers, he was the MVP in the NFL. Guess what? They would be busting their ass.
Tom Brady.
Just because
even old Tom Brady,
even old Tom Brady, when he came in second in MVP, guess what? We're trying to move the earth to get that person home.
Right.
And
then these types of questions wouldn't even be.
Well, the type of question that would be, he got out of there because of who he is, right? All his money got him out of there. Well, she's got to play over there for the last 5 years because she makes 5 times what she makes here in America. And that's why she's there. It's not like she was sightseeing and robbed a bank. It was that you know me. I've been in this community. I've been in this country 5 years in a row.
And it's cool when I'm making you guys money. And it's cool when I'm selling tickets for you guys. But as soon as it's no longer convenient. But so let me do this then.
Yeah, and we have, Shana. We have perfected propaganda. Absolutely.
Well, hold on. Let's go back up to Alex's about the orange.
The orange guy.
Yeah.
Keep going. This one.
Yeah. So with this one, and the dreamers, we got to be fair though. At the same time, like to only use, I guess, when I hear both sides talk, the dreamers use race for their benefit, and that's what they're gonna. At the same time, this side uses what we don't like about them, what we don't like about this group.
Yeah.
And then they rally behind the hate. And they'll use that for convenience to rally behind the hate for more votes and more this and more that. I don't know if anyone's better than the other. I don't know if only talking about, hey, we need to be there for them to get this vote is what's up. I also don't think that this is what we don't like and these guys are up to mischief. Yeah. I don't think that's either better. And just to respond to that part.
Right.
And then did she break the law? I think that's a good question, right? Because we've talked about this a few times. How many schools in Woodstock, Huntley, Hampshire, McHenry, that if we raided their lockers, have that same thing that's going to get this woman 10 years, and to the best of my knowledge, that's illegal for kids to have. How many parties in McHenry and Woodstock and Crystal Lake have underage drinkers? And to the best of my knowledge, that's illegal for them to do so. How many kids are after 11 o'clock outside? And to the best of my knowledge, it's illegal. There's citywide curfew for underage. But none of them are getting tried for 10 years.
Yeah.
Even though they broke the law.
In the office. What office are you in now? Where are you working at now? Interesting. All right. I wonder if she isn't being used as a and that's true, Shana. And I said the same thing, right? And we talked about it in the green room because I said, okay, here we have this superstar, the athlete.
Right.
I don't know how many other people, Americans, are there in Russia in jail. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe there's 100, maybe there's 150. And now with a war going on, to your point, do they go, well, if we get her out, then we've got to try to get everybody else out.
Right.
And how good do we look if we get her? So, and again, the unfortunate thing is, again, that's Tom Brady. That's that's LeBron James.
Right.
That's I don't know. That's some great. That's Russell Wilson in football. That's
I don't even know any baseball players.
I don't either. I don't either.
Who are good baseball players?
Right. I was going to say Ken Griffey, but he's retired. Right. So
your favorite Cubs pitcher? I don't know.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. Input your favorite baseball player.
Right.
Right. Would we be moving the earth to get that person out? Absolutely. But at the same time, now we have to look and go, well, LeBron's worth $500 million, and people would go, well, it's because he's rich. Right. Or is it because of who he is? Right. So again, here's this, and we don't need to go back in and talk about the slave contracts, but we could.
Yeah.
And the one that surprised me the most, asked by a manager of a store I worked for, told me not to push carts. We have more capable people to handle that. And then they had a 85-year-old man. I'm sorry about that. It's wrong and funny, and I'm sorry you went through that. But that's just I'm laughing at the stupidity. Not at you, Ted. I'm laughing at stupidity. I'm just curious. When was it determined that the United States of America standard of living was the now standard of living in the world?
I mean, I'm sure that when you. I don't think that this is necessarily just based off the standard of America. I think that this type of treatment, if you look back historically, has gone on in those other countries for forever, right? It has just been more highlighted that America is racist, black towards white. But then when we had the Stop Asian Hate, I was like, no, you gotta understand, over there, there's still this, and then in this country, there's this, and there's hierarchy in these countries and things of that nature. But it's not as openly known as black versus white in America. When we talk about those countries, no one really mentions that this goes on of how I would be treated if I walked through the streets of China or Korea is not as openly known as how if I walk through the streets of Alabama. Right. But that stuff has been going on for a very long time.
Right. I mean, my mother and father-in-law have visited China. Right. And my father-in-law is, 6'2". Right. He's not a small guy. And he said it was just amazing when they were there because he's so tall. People would flock to them because he's 6'2".
Right. You're an athlete.
Yeah. So they're and they enjoyed it. But where I'm going with this is, over the people are treated differently in different countries, not because he was American, not because he was white, because he was tall. Right. So imagine a 6'9" woman. Even in Russia, that's tall. I mean, this sister dunks in games.
She's bigger than your tallest person.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then Alex says, very interesting what you say about, your point. It's cool when people are making money. He says he can tell you some real life stories about local businesses here that do the same thing, which is interesting. If she knew and did to it, especially with the war and her playing there for 5 years, seems like maybe the look away she was enjoying ended the same reason. Yeah, we can only project what we believe happened in that someone else. Has anyone tried to come up with a plan and try to? I don't know if they've come up with a plan to try to get her home. And yes, you're right. Here's the deal. Maybe she's been there 5 years. Maybe somebody knew that she brought CB, because she needs it for her joints or whatever, right? And did somebody turn on her? And now because of the war, does she become that political pawn, as Shayna says? Maybe they look the other way because, hey, you were making us money, but now we're going to try to tell America, guess what? We got one of yours, and she broke the law, right? Now I'm a wrestling fan. Vince McMahon was on the second biggest YouTube show outside of 21/6 Net. That's right, Pat McAfee show. He was asked about how he can support Saudi Arabia, knowing how they treat men, women, and children. It was very interesting. Yeah, yep, that was a very good interview actually on there with Vince McMahon. Very good. But because he's doing shows over in Saudi Arabia. Bottom line is, I don't have to agree with whatever country I go. If I'm a billionaire trying to make money and I can go make money someplace,
Right.
it's not necessarily that I'm supporting that. I'm just saying, and at no point would you ever say no. I don't support what they do, but I'm not going to ban that, right?
Yeah.
Because I can go over there and make a couple $1 million, whatever, right?
Watch the end of the documentary called The 13th.
Put it in that microphone.
Watch the end of the documentary The 13th.
Yeah.
Watch which companies are connected to what. And then if we're not going to support companies or countries that treat people poorly, get ready to be Amish.
Yeah, all right.
It's tough.
I've got my beard growing.
I'm about to change my
The
name
13th.
to Ezekiel Wallace.
Right. The 13th
13th. They talk about
on Netflix.
which companies are for prison system and how they want
Oh,
more
yeah.
people in there to be employees actually behind the scenes. So we actually got to get these numbers increased inside of the prison system because that's more employees for our products that we can now get cheaper to compete with overseas products and exports and stuff like that. So that's why you've seen the prison numbers consistently increase because it's actually slave labor that is now legalized because they get these contracts from the government and the prison people feel good because they're getting paid. Man, don't get me started on this.
Interesting. Interesting. I'll have to watch that this weekend. Oh yeah, I can't share the photo, but there's a post now from all the politicians and how much stock they've bought and made since coincidentally right before the well that's a whole different show. And again, we don't talk politics here on 21.6 The Net,
Right.
but if you follow the money and you see some of the targets that are being hit, you might see that there's some assets and or some very places of interest for a lot of people in the United States.
I mean, you got to look at it. We were kind of on a shutdown for a year now. We got to make up that bottom line number somehow. This looks pretty convenient.
Pretty convenient. But again, we don't talk politics here or conspiracy theories.
You right.
So here's where and again, I come from my point of view, right? I come from growing up in Iowa. I come from, but again, the town that I lived in was pretty mixed, maybe 40 60 40 50 50 is right in there, African American and white.
Right.
So I grew up with a lot of black friends. I still have a lot of black friends. That doesn't mean I understand, and that's what I'm trying to tell people when it's worldwide.
They don't understand.
I was again talking with my brother, and we've talked about this. You hear the word redlining, and you go, "I don't get it. We don't do it. It never happened. Whatever, right?" But then I go and look at my hometown, and I go, "Oh my gosh, the middle of this city is where all the black people
Look
live."
at every major city,
and then the white, she was like surrounded by the Indians, right? So and when I say that, Native
circle the wagons, right?
Right, circle the wagons. So even being on this show, even doing research, even really trying to open up my eyes to the bigotry, trying to open my eyes to the inconsistencies,
right?
And to really learn what happened. As I'm doing this, though, Phil, I still, like I said, caught myself saying, "All right. Well, you must have been guilty of something. Why would you run? Why would you run?"
Right.
Until my brother says, "This is why you run."
Yeah. I mean, but there's so many people who don't want to do some self-evaluation. Like, I'll sit quietly until, I'll sit quietly on other topics. But when it becomes time to speak on, did they do something illegal? Then I get vocal.
Right.
If you're only vocal when it comes time to incarcerate a black person, and that's what wakes you up.
Yeah.
Do some evaluation.
You have to.
You have to be just as vocal when it's countries mistreating minorities as you are on topics about incarcerating black people. And I watch certain people skip certain topics.
Yeah.
And I watch them come alive for the incarceration of African Americans. Why is that?
Right.
Why do you only keep stats of why people would be guilty?
Right. Yeah, that's I have thought big money and celebrity people, regardless of gender, ethnicity, etc., had been somewhat isolated from the isms. I can't imagine Oprah having many situations. Yeah, yeah. So that's what she's saying is, if Oprah was over there with the same cartridge, would she be in jail? Right,
So
because of her economic status, because of her world celebrity, right?
I
And
mean,
that's a good question.
in our country, we have no problem arresting black celebrities
No,
and athletes and stuff like that. I can't imagine it being any different because, especially from overseas, who are you to us?
well, right.
You're an American celebrity.
Yeah, but
He's black over here.
and at the same time, Oprah could just say, "Let me make a quick phone call to my attorney, who will then make a quick phone call to the president of the United States to get us out of this." I mean, right?
So, but okay, like Oprah does probably have more resources to get out of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that she's not going to get arrested. It doesn't mean that she's not going to
Right.
get, brought into questioning.
Right.
That part's still going to happen because of what she looks like.
Well, Oprah's got power and influence.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Right.
she might be
That's
more
what
able
Shayna
to
says.
get
She's
out
got
of
power.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's got power. But as far as like to not have the occurrences and instances, you do. Case in point, there's a dude he's the leader of the Black Panther movement. He was making a withdrawal from the bank and he's got money. He's got his glasses on, he's got his mask on for COVID, and he's gone to this bank for years.
Yep.
And he said, where the bank is, I guess, isn't in a great location. And he's like, look, he puts on a note that he's done repeatedly.
And keep in mind, he's a big time movie producer.
Big time movie producer.
Yeah.
Celebrity. I'm withdrawing $12,000. Please put it in an envelope. Please don't announce how much money that you're putting in the envelope.
Slides a note across the counter to the teller saying, "Please don't make a big deal out of this.
Please don't make a big deal. Look, I'm putting in my card.
Right. Here's my card.
My card for my account."
Yep.
Lady says, just 1 second. Goes to the back, calls the manager. "We'll be right with you, sir." Dude gets surrounded by cops. One dude pulls a gun out.
Yep.
He's sitting here trying to, look, I'm complying. They're still being aggressive. He's like,
Yep.
I'm trying to help you out. Google who I am.
Right.
Because it could go bad. Like, I don't want to expose or make a big
major
scene.
bank. Major bank.
Right. Major bank. And long story short, they did the right thing, but it doesn't mean that he's not going to have the instance. It doesn't mean he's not going to have the situation. Go ahead.
To which then that bank offered a public apology.
The apology.
That's the part. That's
apology.
the part that got me. I'm like, you have got to be kidding.
The apology.
The written public apology.
Man,
just like to apologize
for how we treat people. We didn't know this one actually could expose us for how we treat numerous people who withdraw a number that we don't feel they deserve to be able to withdraw comfortably.
Now, being in a banking industry and being held up, before is I first go, idiot shouldn't have slid across the note. He could have put it on his phone, right?
Right.
So if I'm and second of all, even if it was a robbery, handled incredibly poorly, because that's not what you're supposed to do. Because now you just put everybody else at risk there. The money's insured. Give the person what they want. Get them out so that everybody's safe. That is the training that's supposed to happen. So it was handled incredibly poorly, right? By a major bank.
Right.
And all they did was, we'd like to offer you our apologies. All good.
Okay. Did he do anything threatening?
Did not make a threatening move.
Because if, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Your bank, I'm robber.
Yeah.
Give me $12,000. And I'm putting in my card and my information that my account allows me to do so, even if I said it aggressively.
Right. You can. There you go.
If I have $200,000 in the account and I'm asking for 12 of my money.
Yep.
Where's the issue?
Yep. Yeah. There you go. Director of yeah. It was Ryan Coogler. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you. It wasn't a good idea back in the day to wear a mask in a bank. Right. No. Yeah. This was during COVID. Right?
COVID. So I'm pretty sure
everybody
was
had
wearing masks.
Yeah. It was a crazy thing. Yeah. Yep. So it was a crazy thing. How are you certain that behavior on its own didn't trigger the situation? It didn't. It was it didn't, and it wasn't in and it wasn't even an odd amount right, that he has taken out in the past. So you look at these things,
Right.
right? So the training is, don't let me go get a manager. Well, maybe that's what it was, and she wasn't making a big deal about it, but the two officers came in because of the note slid across or whatever. Maybe the manager goes, "Oh my gosh," or she may have just gone, and I don't know the whole story. So if I'm a teller, I only have so much money in my drawer, and I only have so much that I have authority to give.
Right.
So maybe yes, I have to go get my manager for an override.
Right.
And I go to my manager and go, "Hey, there's a gentleman here. He's withdrawing this. He slid something. Did not make it a big deal. Oh my gosh, he slid a note across the desk."
But the key point is, this wasn't his first time
Correct.
going to this bank
Correct.
in the same type of mask and glasses,
Right.
asking for similar amounts. So it's not a one-off.
No, correct.
This is kid comes
Correct.
here all the time.
So you can't blame. What I'm saying is, I'm not blaming the teller somewhere, right? And it could have been a teller standing next to her
right.
that alerted the security people or whoever,
Right.
So I don't know how it all played out, but no, his actions, his attitudes were non-threatening. We're just like, I'm in here doing business like I normally do, and I ended up in handcuffs.
Right.
And again, complied, didn't fight against, just said, "Listen, Google me, understand what's happening.
I'm trying
here."
to help you right now. No, I don't want to go in the back of the squad car because you're escalating it to the point that I don't want to have it go to. And like, I'm thinking of the well-to-do families in Crystal Lake during COVID time. I highly doubt that if I go to Home State Bank in Crystal Lake as a person who's lived in the area, just because it's COVID time and now I have a mask on and I see the name that comes in here all the time, that all of a sudden they're in the back of handcuffs.
Right. And yeah, the sliding of the note for you and I here, Shayna, that's a trigger. Something's wrong. This wasn't the first time he's done it.
Right. But do you see how quickly we're looking to the incriminating part of the note versus, you have to understand, if you're in Southside Chicago, do you want it yelled out that you just pulled out 12 grand?
Right.
Probably not.
And usually in those places, there's a bulletproof glass. So I'm not going to be like, "Please keep this discreet," trying to get it through the glass. So it's here, I'm going to slide you this note saying, hey, just so you know.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm the person who comes here all the time. I just don't want my amount announced to the rest of the bank, because then I have to walk outside with that amount on me. And I don't want that to happen here. I think that's a very logical thing.
Right. She says, "I just like having multiple views to try to see how this might have been prevented." Right. The way it might have been prevented would have been for the manager to come out and have a conversation, or to go, "Oh, okay, this is you. Let me look at his account. Oh, he does this. Oh, he's done this before. I know Mr. Kugler." Right. But somewhere in there, it happened to and it may have just been the security guard's way. Like I said, that's not protocol. So somebody broke protocol someplace.
Right. I don't think, for a person who hasn't revealed a weapon, hasn't showed any type of hostility, for us to approach him with a gun.
Right.
I don't know if that's protocol.
Right.
I think that if I'm a teller and so-and-so comes up and I see the account, he has it, he's withdrawn this amount before or more.
Yeah.
What's so alarming?
Right. And the training is, and I can tell you this because I spent 20 plus years in the banking industry and being branch managers of several locations. The training is, you take that note and you set it aside so they can't take it because it's got their fingerprints on it, and you leave it sit and you do whatever they ask you to do so that they get in and they get out, so nobody else is harmed. The money is secure. Money is insured. No, not my money, not your money. It's the Fed's money. And then it's to do this, right? And there's cameras everywhere to get everything.
They're going to have the angles.
If I don't have that amount, yes, again, I need to get an override from my manager. So for her to say, "Let me go get my manager," absolutely 100% spot on. It fell apart someplace because somebody tried to play hero,
right?
Jumped the gun, quote unquote, no pun intended. somebody tried to play hero, but oh, look at us.
Help me from a banking side.
Yep.
It doesn't show that I've withdrawn money from this location before.
No, it will.
No, I'm with you. I know.
Yeah, it
I
will.
just want the people
Correct.
in TV land to understand that if we're looking for ways to prevent it, like
Right.
the screen is going to show that this individual pulls this type of money from this bank all the
Right.
time.
And most people who are withdrawing that, here's my ID and here's my debit card to have access to it. Along with the ID and the debit card was a note saying, hey, don't make a big deal out of this, please.
Please.
Right.
I'm just not trying to have my amount announced to
Correct.
a bank.
And I don't need you to count it out right in front of everybody.
Just, if you're going to do it. But look, here's my card. Here's my ID.
Please respect. Yeah. Right. So that, most
in my
bank
mind,
robbers
in
don't
my
show
mind,
up with an
that's-
ID.
Right. Here is who I am. Here is
Right.
me proving that I come here. And
Yeah.
on your screen, you show that I withdraw money from here. I don't know what else he could have done to prevent.
So, and we got to run because we're over 5 minutes over because you guys are awesome. There was a black lawyer who was arrested and placed on probation before COVID when he took the issue to court, and the judge and the officers there at the court said, we arrested him and put him on probation because he didn't have a suit. It was the Googler?
I think it's like a different situation.
That was in 2019. Okay. So anyway, great stuff. And here's what I'm saying. It is continue to build. These conversations are
Right.
great. These conversations are great. And continue to build and be mindful of what's going on and can always question what you hear. Listen to what's being said. For all of us here, 26, come back for the Neighborhood Pulse at 1. Thanks.
All right. Love you guys.